All right. Happy New Year, everyone. It has been a little bit since we've been on. It's been a couple weeks. We were taking a serious holiday break. It was nice. We had lots of, holiday parties and stuff to attend. So now we're back to business. And there is serious, serious business, everyone. So thank you for joining us. My name is Donna Morton, and I'm the president of Caribbean American Diaspora and the president of Women of Culture Incorporated, real estate broker and mindset coach. I'm checking to see if Lewis is actually jumping on with us. Let me check and see where he's at. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and share the page because right now we just dropped on Caribbean Diaspora Vibes, and I'm going to go ahead and share to all the different pages while we give people a few minutes.
Okay.
All right, so we're sharing on my personal page. We are sharing on Caribbean American Diaspora. We are on Caribbean Rhythms Radio Network. And we're going to also go on to Jamaica Diaspora Outreach. So we want to make sure that we're covering as much ground as possible. All right, all right. So thank you again. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining Caribbean Diaspora Vibes. Happy New Year. Blessings, blessings, and more blessings. It is needed as we jump into 2026. Tonight, we want to kick off our new year with our amazing attorney, one of our experts that have just dedicated time because we know how busy it is after a full day of practice to again jump on anything. Then you've got family, you got cooking and all this stuff to do. So tonight we're going to cut it short to 30 minutes. Actually, our segments are going to be more geared toward 30 minutes to be, just get the information and move on with life, right?
Yeah.
So, welcome, Attorney Michelle Fanger of the Fanger Law Firm.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me back on and to be the first guest for the new year. I really appreciate that. So
Yes.
thank you so much. And
You
it's always
know,
a pleasure being here just to share the knowledge that I have with everyone.
yeah, so you're looking absolutely fabulous.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, thank you. And so tonight we really, wanted to just kick off with, it's just been movement after movement after movement. And it's like your head is spinning with what's going on, what's next. Oh my God, it's so much on so many different levels. So if you can, the floor is going to be yours. Like I said, we've got, 25 minutes to chit chat and talk.
Mhm.
And I'll be taking notes because people will be like, well, even though sometimes they don't have, time to watch, but um whichever you want to start on, if you want to start on TPS, that's a big topic and all the different changes and naturalization stuff. And, so floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So there's a lot to touch on because, as you know, what you said, a lot is happening, especially in immigration. And a lot of individuals are anxious about what next and how they're going to go through the process. And I guess a lot of people thought they were safe once they got the green card. Then they decided to become a citizen, and now it's another thing with citizenship where a lot of people, as you see in the news, it is paused for a lot of individuals, like your scheduled interview, I mean, citizenship swearing-in has been canceled. And it is quite a time to be concerned. And people are second guessing if they should even try to go through the immigration process or just make their way back to their home country.
Wait, real quick, did you say that something is on pause, swearing in?
Yeah, they have been canceling. Like people are literally scheduled to go swear in and they're canceling those swearing in ceremonies and reviewing because one of the directives from the administration was that they're going to review all applications that were approved. So even if you have your citizenship, you should be concerned because they did say that some cases were approved, although there were issues. So they are taking the time to go review all of them. The directive is that they need to review at least each person 200 citizenship cases. So it is a bit concerning to those who went through the process and might have a little issue. So, but on the bright side of it, not because they're reviewing cases mean that you will have an issue. The only individuals that I think should be a little bit concerned is if you were approved, but you were aware that there were some issues, like you had some felony that you know should not be approved for, and also that you know you didn't meet the requirement to become a citizen, but they looked over it and you were okay with it. So those are issues, but overall, you should not be as concerned. And as you know, they did change the requirement for citizenship where they decided to give more questions, more complex questions, because they want to ensure that individuals understand how the US economy works, the government works, and why they should be a citizen. So they understand the history of the United States and are sure to say have alliance with the United States in the event of everything. So that's a new change for individuals. It is a little bit more complex with the examination. You just have to study a little bit more. It's not that you cannot do it, you can do it. You just have to study a little bit more. And I believe they're adding more questions. So it's doable to pass, so not to be too concerned about it. It's just that you have to ensure you follow all the steps. I always say ensure you have somebody such as an attorney. I know people always say we could use anybody else, but with all the changes that are consistently being made, I always recommend that speak to an attorney who keeps up to date with the changes and are able to highlight any issues you might have with your case that can be addressed. Even if you don't hire the attorney to handle the entire case, at least consult with an attorney to go over your case with you. So that's one of the major things. I don't want to encumber everyone, but there's a lot. Another major thing is that in regards to those who usually get their green card through marriage,
Mhm.
they are scrutinizing these applications a lot more, meaning that it's not that they're saying you cannot apply through your spouse. It's just that they're saying when you submit your application initially, you have to submit enough evidence upfront to establish that it's a legitimate marriage. It's a good faith marriage, and you're not doing it because you want to get an immigration benefit. So usually before you could some individuals will submit their application, the bare application, and they will say, okay, they'll send us a request for additional evidence. What the administration is saying right now, we're not going to do that. That is not our job to be sending out additional proof for you to go bring us proof of your marriage. Up front, you have to submit. So if you're married, we want to see you have a lease. If you do live together, now they're scrutinizing more for individuals who do not live together. So they're looking at that more in depth, and off the bat, it's a red flag. And as you all know, that they have invested more into individuals doing these cases, reviewing these cases, where they actually have officers to go out in the community to look at your home to see if you do reside together, to contact your employer. So they actually have investigators. Usually before they did it before, but they didn't have enough funds to fund it where on each case you could have an officer. But now they have put enough money forward where people can go out to look at how you're actually living, interact with your neighbors if you do live there. So this is what they're saying. You just have to submit enough evidence to show that it is, and they don't have questions, but they're not going to ask you to prove to them after you submit your application that you're actually married. So that is just what you have to do. So ensure before you submit the application, don't just submit the bare application and say, oh, that's enough. You have to go over and beyond. No, to establish. And remember, they don't just look at that you have to have a lease, you have to have bank statements. They look at the quantity of information that you have. So it could be several things. It could be that you are on your stepchild's pickup emergency contact at their school. It could be that you're on your employer's, the person is on the employer's contact. You both have the same driver's license, address on your driver's license. I mean, not the same, but the address is the same to show that you reside together. So these are things. And as you see, if you do submit a comprehensive package, your case will be approved because you do have cases that are being approved quickly. But you have some cases where they do have questions on that are being delayed. So not to be scared about what's happening. It's just that this administration is looking just at the law itself. They're not looking to give anybody any exemptions because or leeway. They're just trying to follow the strictness of the law. So you have to
Understood.
just be mindful. Yeah.
Good to know. So send in your best foot, put your best foot forward first
Yeah.
time is
Yeah.
is basically.
Very important. Another thing too, the social media that people love to go on, they
Mhm.
do monitor your social media. So if they are looking at your social media, they have people scouring your social media and they will look at what you're posting. If you're married and you're posting with somebody else, they're gonna be like, who is this person? And they will question you about it. So you just have to be mindful of things you do and where you go. And one important thing I want to make sure mention before the time run out is that if you are going through the immigration process and you don't have your green card as yet, even if you have a green card, you should be mindful of how you travel. So if you have a conditional green card, it's pending, but you and your spouse separated, I would not be recommending that you're traveling because at any point they could deny this application and then you are stuck. Or they might have questions for you at the border, whether it's outside or inside the United States. Because as you know, TSA now is updating immigration on your information if you're traveling. People have been detained at TSA just traveling. So just be mindful of your travel. If you know you're in deportation proceedings, but you have a travel documents to travel, permission to travel, don't travel because the officers, although you have that permission, they don't have to make you come back into the country. It's just a permission to leave. They don't have to allow you back in. So just be mindful. I always say just wait until you actually have your 10-year green card or you become a citizen at this point. If it's not an emergency, don't travel. Or if you
Okay.
have a felony, don't travel. Resolve that issue first.
So when you said that, so you can get a permission to leave, right? So look at
Yeah.
that. So we find out, okay, oh, we have permission to leave, but it doesn't say, it doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to come back.
Exactly. It's just a permission and they could take it away at any point. So that's what people need to understand. Just like what they said, with a green card, you don't have any rights. So that's what they mean. You really don't have any rights right now. They're taking it to the extreme. So you just have to be careful. Don't give yourself additional headache. If you have an emergency, I would say consult with somebody before you travel because you want to make sure that person could look at your case. Because I have people call me to say, can I travel? But if I know that they have some serious felony or whatever, although they still have their green card, I would tell them, no, I wouldn't recommend. Even if it's a funeral, I wouldn't recommend you travel. Just stay put.
We have a question on that topic. Veronica,
Yeah.
I think Veronica had her hand up in the chat.
And think she's muted.
Yes. So we'll come back to you, Veronica, once you unmute and you can do your quotes. Oh, there you go.
Sorry, I didn't see it. I am sorry. Good evening. Sorry. Thank you for the information. I just wanted to ask you a question in regards to that. So I'm married to a person from my island. Brought him over here. And then 1 year into the marriage, he left. We have nothing together. He got the 2-year conditional one,
Yeah.
but but he has to wait another 4 years for him to get the actual green card itself. Now, he had the woman he was living with, or is living with, they had a fight. He went to jail for the time. They let him go and all of these things. So, will that pose a problem to him getting his green card?
Well, it depends. So what was he charged for? Well, if he's the
Domestic violence with a gun.
okay, so that's two major things that will impact his immigration status because domestic violence is a big no-no here, which will put you in deportation. And to have a gun, I'm not sure about the circumstances if he was allowed, had permission to carry a gun. I
No,
don't know.
the
He did
gun was the
not.
woman's gun. The woman's gun. He took it from her, and then
Okay,
that's all.
so he has two major offenses that will definitely impact him because with currently and always has been, but now this administration is enforcing this. It doesn't matter if you're actually charged for the offense or locked up or served time, the
Mm,
fact that you were detained for it
mm,
is enough to prove that you are not morally fit to live in the United States. So they could put that under the dragnet of moral turpitude that they use to deport, like individuals that have multiple crimes, but it doesn't really add up to anything. So they could still bring him under that. So I definitely recommend that he has a good criminal attorney who could maybe plead down the charges to something less than domestic violence and get rid of the gun charge. But also, he still has to be aware that when he tries to become a citizen, he has to list that he was detained or locked up on his application. And then it depends on that officer how they will view it.
And then, well, what I wanted to ask was, what is there going to be an interview for us?
For us, who you and him,
Uh-huh.
I think I missed your part. So you're married to him.
I'm still married to him. He left. And then in his
Okay,
mind, we are
so
still there, but I am not, I left that man already because of that foolishness. But I just
okay.
wanted to know if he would be able to get his green card, which I don't want him to get it, but I'm just asking the question.
Okay, I missed the part that you were the one married. Okay, so you are no longer with him, so you cannot go and attest that you're with him. That would be a federal crime and put you into the
Oh, no.
fraud.
Oh,
So
I
yeah,
don't want to
you
do that. No,
okay,
no.
so if you don't go to that interview, they're gonna question him why you're not at that interview. But you said he only got the 2 year, correct?
Yes, only got the 2 years. Yes.
Okay, so we'll have to remove the condition. So yeah, that would be a problem because if you don't sign that document to say that you're doing it jointly, he's gonna have to do it independently by either saying he was abused or it's a hardship.
I already sent immigration letters to let them know that he did that.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. Well, yeah. So yeah, so if he's going with that, then that will be yeah, he'll have so that's two issues he have. The one with you and the one with his new individuals. So yeah, he will have a problem.
Yes. Thank you
Definitely.
so much for that, Veronica.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, it's a good question. So yeah, so when people are going through, just to summarize, so when people do get married initially, if you're married under 2 years, you get what's called a conditional green card. And what they're doing is doing a test run of your marriage to see if it's legitimate. So after the 2 years, you have to send in to ask them to remove the condition of the 2 year to get to your 10-year green card. So at that point that you have to do the 2 year, you have to establish that you're with the spouse still, or if the spouse is deceased. But if you're separated, you could file on your own, but you're gonna have to establish that it was a legitimate marriage when you guys got married. Things happen, you fall apart. It will be a hardship on you if you left or that you were abused during the marriage and you had to leave. And then if you're gonna do it that way by yourself, you can't do it 3 years to get your citizenship. You have to wait 5 years at the 5 year mark. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm
And
sure a lot of that happens, right? Where people
a
come
lot.
and by year after one year something happens and.
Yeah, it is rough. And a lot of people don't understand that when you get that weird, it doesn't mean it you have to maintain your marriage. If you're abused, don't stay. But you just can't just marry somebody and be like, oh, I'm leaving.
Right.
Right? So I know they're really investigating these marriages because sometimes officers might see something and they notate something in your file and they monitor it at the time you're doing the removal.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Thank
yeah. So to segue into what else is happening, the one to talk about the TPS, that is temporary protective status for individuals from various countries such as Haiti, Venezuela. But the one we want to talk about today is Haiti. So they had a temporary status that was provided to them because of what was happening in Haiti. As you see, there's a lot of unrest in Haiti. You have the government is not too stable, the hurricane. So it's like each time there was something happening in Haiti. So because it wasn't safe and fit for individuals to go back home, the government said, all right, we'll allow you to stay temporarily to work and make money to survive. But if everything in your country changes where it's safe for you to go back, we're going to remove the temporary status and then you're going to go back home. And so we see this is what's happening with Haiti. The US government has stated that things are safe in Haiti and everything is good, so they could go back home. And I think they have until February 15th. I think that's the deadline. But if you have other options of getting, such as you get married or you have a child who could petition for you and other means of getting a permanent status, it's okay to get it. But if not, if you haven't had any other options to get permanent status, you have to go home. And I think a lot of people don't understand that it is temporary. So most individuals don't look at other options to get permanent residency. They stay in the temporary status and they get concerned.
you.
But if the government does not decide to extend it, then you have a pickle right there. So this is what they're saying, that all Haitians have to leave on temporary status, have to leave by that deadline. So in the meantime, I'd recommend if you are Haitian and you think you have other options of getting a green card, go ahead and try to um, resolve that matter so you don't have to head back home.
That would include legitimate marriage.
Yeah.
Can that include work sponsorship?
Well, well, if they were out of status before they applied for the work,
Hmm.
they cannot be sponsored because you kind of have to have legal status when you're applying for a
Right.
work green card.
Okay.
And then, but they have other options. If a crime was committed against them, they could try to get a T visa, a U visa, or it's kind of hard for them to apply for refugee status or asylum because if they're saying the government is saying it's good, you could go back home, it's gonna be kind of hard to establish that is not the case. So yeah, so everybody should really definitely, because the thing I think a lot of people are doing is a lot of sit and wait. And I guess with everything happening, everybody's nervous about applying or trying to get an illegal status. But I definitely recommend that you should still try to seek to get status and then apply for that status. Because the law is definitely the law. It's just that if you don't follow the steps that were established and provided, and this is the thing, individuals who have been practicing for years know the law and already knew what existed. Because I've had people come to me and tell me that, oh, this loophole, and they can allow you to get status some way. Somebody told them. And then it kind of backfire later on. Because like, no, when people are using whatever loophole, I know they're saying, all right, we're going to review all these cases to make sure you're in compliance and you have issues. But usually all attorney knows the law, know what you have to comply with. Because this is why when I see all this media frenzy, I'm like, they're not really doing anything outside of what existed already. They're just saying we're going to ensure that you follow the rules. So, and 'cause most of these things, 'cause even though when individuals' cases are denied, even under Obama administration, immediately they were issuing notice to appear because to go to deportation court, go to court. Because if it's denied, right there, they're saying you don't have any legal standing to be here, so we're going to refer your case. But what happened is that governments after even Trump, they were not enforcing this. They were like, your case is denied. They didn't even send anything. They left you alone until you figure out another way. But then now they're come back to it and say, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to go through all the cases that were denied and we're going to issue the notice to appear immediately. Individuals who are here overstaying, usually before what I see now, which I've seen in my practice, is that they do notify you know that your time is about, especially if they have a student visa, J1. But usually people, if they did overstay, they weren't monitoring them because it wasn't an issue where they were looking to deport them. They were more focused on hardened criminals or felons to be deported. But now they're saying, listen, if you overstay by a day, you're out. We need you out. And for individuals who come in within the last 2 years, they are expeditedly like getting them out of the country. They're like, you're not entitled to a hearing or anything. We're getting you out. Unlike people who have been here for years, they're entitled to certain benefits to the immigration court, defenses, sorry, to the immigration court. Because not because you are issued with a notice to appear to go to immigration court mean that you will be deported. You do have defenses. If you have been here, say, for over 7 years, paid your taxes, no criminal offense, you could ask for a cancellation of the deportation, which you're entitled to. If you are abused, you could file your VAWA and say, listen, I have a VAWA case pending. I shouldn't be deported. Like you raise the argument, they will allow you to use that. If you have an I-130, a child who could petition for you and you're going through deportation, or a spouse, they will cancel deportation and allow you to go through that process. So all hope is not lost if you are in deportation, but it's just a step that is being taken and being enforced right now.
So quickly, we'll say, so for the TPS status, marriage is an option, legitimate marriage, because remember, they're going to be scouring everything about you. And then what was the other option?
Well, you could do VAWA, you could do other options, like anything that's available. Like you could do if you were a victim of a crime, such as a labor law violation where you were overworked, underpaid. You could try to get a T visa. If a crime was committed against any health law enforcement, you could get a U visa. So there are other options. So if you think you might or not sure, you could definitely consult with an attorney and they could go through, look at your facts, ask you relevant questions, and then let you know if you qualify for something or if not.
All right. And those people that are here and they overstay, they come in on a farm, farm work, etc., whatever, and they overstay. Oh, that's a whole nother
That's a whole nother thing because the thing is that if you're married to a spouse, you're entitled to adjust within the law itself. So that's I know they're pushing and say the scare tactic of if you do it, we're gonna do whatever to you, but it's within the law itself that as a spouse or if you're a minor child and you petition for somebody, they're able to stay here and adjust. So you could still go ahead and file your petition.
So the best thing is always
Overstay.
just to contact an attorney. And then last point, the denaturalization. Um, we're seeing that too. Are we to be worried about that, or what's usually the trigger?
Okay, so the only people who should be worried about that is if you knew you committed a crime back in the day, a felony, but then for some reason it was overlooked, um, or you committed a crime during the process of getting your citizenship. You never notified USCIS. That will happen. I've had cases where it's taken because individuals have children and some people it was they petitioned for the children, it wasn't recognized that it was a child that they never listed before, and then it comes up because remember when you're going through the process they look at all your applications like from you trying to get a visa to come into the United States, your green card, everything. So that's what they're doing. They're reviewing everything to see if there's an error. I've seen where people have, not in my cases, where they have claimed that they're married common law, but nothing, like they weren't really married. They claimed it. That's a lie, and then they got their citizenship. That these are things that they could review. So if you knew like you did things that were not on the up and up, then you might be a little bit concerned. Outside of that, you're good.
Okay.
Okay.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we do see people going into immigration appointments and then getting, taken there. We've seen lots of that on social media.
Yeah, and that is the thing. Like, this is for individuals. Like, they knew they had an order before, but yes, so they put in an application. They knew they had a felony in another country, another place. They push through the application and they think it's going through. And they might think, oh, I'm getting one over, but they're not. So what they do is they tell you to come in for an interview, knowing they're gonna detain you. Because ICE is right there. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you know you have certain criminal records on your file, before you even venture to do any application and say, oh, they're not gonna know, speak to an attorney and be honest with that attorney. So that attorney knows, because sometimes these attorneys don't know. Because sometimes the thing is that you could get an order on a different alien number. That's alien number is a number you're given when you come in to keep track of everybody. So you could be order deported on another alien number. You do an application, didn't tell anybody that you have an alien number, and then the attorney start the process. You got a new alien number. The attorney doesn't know you have an order. So by the time when you go in, they're gonna say it's the same person, like. So don't think you're pulling one over at this time, because they do have the resources right now. They are putting money into this, majority of the money into immigration. So they have the time. It's not like before when they were overworked, understaffed, where things could slide. Now they're investing money. So just be mindful of what you do. And they're not just randomly picking people up. All right,
Good
it's
to
people
know.
with issues. As you see, like if you read the rest of the news, because they do this breaking news, you see, oh, they had an order already, or this person was a felon. So yeah, just be mindful of where you get your information also.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell us, Attorney Michelle, how can people find you?
Okay, you could find me at 904 480 sorry, in
No
a minute.
problem.
In a minute.
It's part of momhood.
I know. Telephone number is 904-480-6612. I'm on social media at the Fanger Law Firm, and you could send me an email at admin@fangerlawfirm.com. So again, my telephone number is 904-480-6612, and you can find me on social media at the Fanger Law Firm.
Okay. And you cover the whole state, the US?
Yeah, I represent Israel all over in every state, inside and outside the United States also. So
Wonderful,
I represent
wonderful.
Israel want to come here. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that, for
You're
educating
welcome.
us and giving us the tips. We know you've got to get back to that little young man.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, and until next time, be
You're
blessed.
welcome. Have a good day. Bye.